Good evening, everyone. Benjamin Yurkovich here with Washington Weather Chasers. Just going to get fired up here. Going to see if I can get the stream going on Facebook also. And once I see a few more people hop into the stream, I will go ahead and get rolling with this update here. All right. Go ahead and just stand by for a moment, and then we'll get rolling. Right now, we're just looking at the satellite imagery over the state. Gonna wait for a few more people to hop in, and then we'll get going with this update. Hello to everyone hopping in the chat. As you're hopping in the chat, go ahead and let me know where you are watching from. Just going to make a quick post over on my Facebook real quick, and then we'll get rolling with this update here. Okay, that is good. Here we go. As you guys are hopping in the chat, Benjamin Yurkovich here with Washington Weather Chasers. Today, crossed a little bit of a milestone over on my Facebook channel that I'm pretty happy about. We surpassed 100,000 followers over there, which is pretty fun. You know, after doing this for 6 years, it's a pretty reasonable milestone for there. Hello to everyone hopping into the YouTube chat. Good to see you guys. Okay, we're going to get doing this here. I was hoping to also get the live stream up and going on my Facebook, but it seems like the streaming software is not pushing it out to Facebook very well at the moment. So we'll stick with YouTube and continue the update this way. So right here, we're looking at the atmospheric river that is on the way to Washington State. We're going to talk about this in a little bit, but just for posterity's sake, it was pretty fun. I was able to screenshot the moment the Facebook page crossed over to 100,000 followers. I also got a screenshot of 99,999 followers, which is pretty fun. So yeah, officially at 100,000 over there on the Washington Weather Chasers Facebook page. You can check that out if you want to. Go ahead and let me know in the comments what you think would be a good way to celebrate this. A couple years back, I ended up doing something where it was like if I reached a certain amount of reactions and shares on a certain post, I would jump into Lake Stevens while it was snowing outside, and reached that threshold, and sure enough, was able to go ahead and do that live stream of me jumping into the lake. So that was pretty fun. So let me know in the comments what you think would be some good ideas. If you guys think I should do like a gift card giveaway, or a certain pull to give away some merch or something like that. And also let me know if you guys think it would be a good idea to go ahead and get some Washington Weather Chasers merch going. I started up a merch shop a while back, but then stopped it. And Tapanya suggests that I eat 100,000 Thai chilies. Well, if you guys feel like watching me die of a heart attack on this channel, I could do that. But but yeah, let me know in the comments what you think would be some good ideas for doing an update or doing a celebration for that. So here, yeah, again, we're looking at this satellite imagery. We got a pretty potent atmospheric river heading towards the area here. This is looking at precipitable water. You can really see that atmospheric river just pointed right at the Pacific Northwest. And there's a couple areas on the West Coast that have a longer duration of the atmospheric river. And this is looking at the maximum forecast AR scale. Got 5 categories here for a good chunk of the Washington coast, we're going to reach atmospheric river category 3. It's going to be a bit more potent further down south, but still, number 3 is not anything to scoff at. And the National Weather Service in Seattle has issued a hydraulic outlook for a good portion of western Washington from about Tacoma and Shelton north. And if we take a look at the details of this, let me go ahead and scoot this over so that you guys can read that with me. If we look at the details of this, threat of flooding Friday night through Sunday for Jefferson, Clallam, Whatcom County, Skagit County, and King County. Moderately strong atmospheric river will impact western Washington. It's going to bring anywhere to 2 to 4 inches, locally 5 inches, to the Olympic Mountain Peninsula and the north central Cascades. Skokomish River has the highest risk, which is super typical for around here. The Skokomish River is usually the first river to flood. I should have looked up how to pronounce this. The Bogachil, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, may also flood. But then also, check this out, the Skagit, Snohomish, Skokomish, and Snoqualmie rivers in the Cascades also may reach action stage. In the action stage, that's basically just when the river is really flowing good. It's not quite flood stage, but action stage. And who knows, some of those rivers could possibly reach like a slight flood level as well. Minor flood stage, rather. Some uncertainty remains over rainfall amounts for the mountains, and river conditions will continue to be closely monitored. And they also mentioned the possibility of flash flooding and debris flows. That would be applicable out there near the Bear Gulch fire. So looking over at the models here, I'm going to skip this over here again so we have a better picture of that. And I'm going to turn this onto a loop. And before I get talking about this, I'm going to check the comments real fast. But yeah, this is looking at the HRRR model on how it brings this atmospheric river in to Washington State. But first, I'm going to pop over and check out the comments here. Some of the ideas. Anne says yes to merch. Awesome. Alexis says she remembers when I did a snow angel and I only had jeans and a t-shirt on. Yep. Yeah, back in 2019, I was doing a snow chase in February, and it was the middle of the night, and there was nobody else on the road. I was going across the 520 bridge, and I remember pulling over on the side of the 520 bridge and live streaming me doing a snow angel on the 520 bridge. Thank you, Nip Cow. Yes, if you're enjoying this stream, please make sure and like and subscribe. Sweet, Beth, thanks for letting me know that. Yeah, and also, as of today, became a YouTube partner again, which is super awesome. So you guys now have the ability to send over super chats and things like that, and also getting membership tiers going here on the channel. So super fun. We'll make live streaming a little bit more worth my time getting out there. Being able to make a little bit here on the YouTube channel, which is super awesome. So yeah, if you're enjoying this live stream, please make sure and hit that like, and also let me know how the audio of this is. I never actually did end up checking the audio myself, but let me know in the comments how the audio is and the stream quality, all that kind of stuff. I'm just gonna pop in here real quick and check it myself as well. That sounds good to me. Okay, so continuing on with the update here. This is looking at the HRRR model, the high resolution rapid refresh. And unfortunately for all of you that have activities tomorrow evening, it's looking like it's going to be raining for the majority of Western Washington at this point. The European model also sped up its timing. So it's looking like it's going to start raining out there on the coast in the morning, and then there'll be a little bit of a break, but it's going to pick up in intensity by the time we get into the afternoon. And by the time we get to about 2 p.m., it's going to be raining for the majority of the coast. And then it's also going to start raining up there in Whatcom County in the late morning, and it's just going to probably continue through the afternoon into the evening. And for places like Snohomish County, there is going to be a brief bout of rain in the morning, and then it's going to dry out briefly for the afternoon. This is 11, then it dries out maybe around noon, 1, 2, and then 3. By about 3 o'clock, from areas like Everett, Seattle, Federal Way, Tacoma, Olympia, South, it's going to start raining, and it's going to continue raining through the evening, 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m. So yeah, it's gonna be a sog fest tomorrow, guys. Sorry. Make sure and pack your umbrellas if you don't want to get your costumes completely wet and not have them completely covered up by like a rain jacket and things like that. And something else we're having to keep an eye on here, and the European and the HRRR also show some development of a weak surface low on the back end of this atmospheric river. And this is looking at late on Friday night into Saturday morning. Weak surface low on the HRRR just off the northwest Washington coast, and it kind of crosses into South Vancouver Island on this model run. And that would bring some gusty winds to the area. Specifically, if the HRRR took that, if the low took the exact track as the HRRR, that would bring windier conditions to the northwest coast and also up there by Whatcom County and the San Juans and things like that. Looking at the European model here, you can see the timing again. This is 2 p.m. right here. By 5 p.m., it's raining pretty heavily for a lot of western Washington. There might be a little bit of rain shadowing, it looks like, right over Whidbey Island, but still light rain. And then we get this surface low development on the backside. This is looking at 5 p.m. right here, and it crosses with the European right over the Olympic Mountain Peninsula, and that would bring gustier conditions from about Whidbey Island south. Looking at that right here real quick. This is looking at the above ground level winds right here, right at the surface just about. So yeah, stronger winds for the coast, and then also stronger winds for the interior. And we'll look at the wind gusts here in a bit more detail in just a moment. But this is looking at the rainfall totals on the most recent HRRR run, and it brings quite a bit of rain to a lot of the area. And the HRRR actually does not have Whidbey very rain shadow. It actually has the rain shadow going right over the Strait of Juan de Fuca there. But 1 inch for Mount Vernon, 1.5 inches for Everett, 1.5 inches for Seattle. This is downtown Seattle, a little bit closer to SeaTac there. May get actually a bit more rain. And then down there by Tacoma, 1.9 inches. And there's this zone where the HRRR kind of wants to train the atmospheric river for a little bit longer. It looks like right around Federal Way and maybe Enumclaw. The HRRR is wanting to give up over 2 inches of rain. Down there by Longview, 0.9 inches. Down there in the Long Beach Peninsula, over 1 inch. Same with Westport, same with Ocean Shores. And up there in the Olympic Mountain Peninsula, anywhere from 3 to 5 inches of rain on the HRRR. And then for the Central Cascade Mountains in the North Cascades, anywhere from 3 to 5 inches of rain as well. Higher up there on the high peaks of the volcanoes, and there's going to be snow on the very top of the volcanoes, of course. Looking at the European model, it also shows quite a bit of rain. So what did it show on the HRRR? 1.2 for Everett, shows 1 inch for Everett, so pretty similar. Also has that rain shadow kind of being over there over the Strait of Juan de Fuca, maybe a little bit over Whidbey, but Whidbey still gets in on some of the rain action, which is good. And 1 inch for Seattle, 1.3 for Tacoma. So yeah, it's going to be pretty wet. But now, if this wind event actually were to occur on the backside, it's gonna start getting gusty tomorrow for sure, up around the San Juan Islands, possibly gusting anywhere from 45. Could get some gusts higher. There is a wind advisory out right now for that area and also for the coast. We can take a quick look at that real fast. So yeah, wind advisory for West Whatcom County, the San Juan Islands, Whidbey, Camino, out near Port Townsend, and the North Washington coast. If we look at this text here, let me drag this over so that you guys can see it better. Tomorrow goes into effect at 9 a.m. and stays in effect until 10 p.m. tomorrow on Friday, October 31st. Gust up to 45 miles per hour for those areas that I just highlighted. Going back to this, I'm going to drag it back over again. The HRRR for that surface low behind the atmospheric river on early Saturday morning into Saturday brings another round of wind after the wind tomorrow for those areas up north to the North Washington coast especially. The HRRR brings gusts up around 49 to 50 miles per hour. And if we look at this right here, just up there by Cape Flattery, it actually has some 60 to 65 mile per hour gusts. And then we're going to have to keep an eye on this track. It's a small low. It's not a very strong low. But if it takes just the right track, it could really bring quite the blow to the San Juan Islands. And this is usually something that happens at least once or twice a year up there in the San Juans where they can get gusts over 60 miles per hour. But it brings some really strong wind over the Strait of Juan de Fuca out there, up over 60 miles per hour. And up to Whatcom County, it's kind of a little bit run-of-the-mill, but it would still be noticeable up there, especially this time of year, 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts. And breezy for areas down south like Seattle. But that's with the low tracking into South Vancouver Island. If we look at the European model, which again, I'll show you the track on the European model here. And this definitely has time to change. But the European model brings a weak surface low right over the Olympic Mountains, which would bring some stronger winds for areas further south. Looking at the wind gusts here. Again, there's tomorrow's winds for the San Juans and the coast. And then going into Saturday morning brings stronger winds for more of the central and south Washington coast. Nothing too unusual for out there. And then another round of wind for pretty much the whole of the I-5 corridor from about Bellingham south. Everett 43 miles per hour, Seattle 42. So not as strong as last weekend's wind event by any means, but still decent. And also gets breezy out there east of the Cascades and especially up in the mountains with this during the day on Saturday. And by that point too, the snow level may be going down. Let's see. No, it's still a high snow level at that point. And then there may be some convergence zone activity on the backside of that. And then the snow level starts to go down a little bit into Sunday as we begin to dry out. All right, I'm going to pause real quick and I'm going to go ahead and take a look at your comments. And it also looks like we have the 0Z HRRR run running right now. All right, I'm going to take a pause and I'm going to look at your comments just for a minute here. Okay. We do need a drought buster, says Roadster Jim. Yes, I agree. Yeah, Jake, is it not already out after this last storm, the Bear Gulch fire? I actually haven't looked at updates for the last couple weeks. Okay, gonna check over on Facebook real quick as well. Janelle's commenting on Facebook, watching on YouTube, and Shelly asks, what about the Belfair area? Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask away in the comments, and I will let you know. And of course, if you're liking the stream, something that definitely helps it out is just liking the stream and also making sure that you subscribe to the channel. Those things kind of tell YouTube that people are interested and can help get it out to more and more people. All right, so out there near Belfair on the Olympic Mountain Peninsula, or the Kitsap Peninsula, rather. Looking at the winds first, it's not going to get too windy with this first round, but there could definitely be some wind on Saturday morning, depending on how that little surface low comes in. It's not looking terribly strong at this time, but that could change depending on the track and the depth of that system. Yeah, the European model has slightly stronger winds out there near Belfair, possibly gusts up to 45 miles per hour, which would possibly warrant some wind advisory headlines. Looking at the rain, let's go to total rain here. Total precipitation. Going to zoom in to the state view. So for Belfair, the European model wants to give Belfair about 1.3 to 1.2 inches of rain with this atmospheric river. And the HRRR on the most recent, on the 18Z run rather, wants to give Belfair up over 2 inches of rain. And right now we do have a new run that's going. And we should have a new NAM 3cam run going here soon as well. So as this is loading, I'm going to look at the comments a little bit more. As you're hopping in the stream, if you don't know who I am, my name is Benjamin Yurkovich. Run this channel here. Also run Washington Weather Chasers over on Facebook. Chad asks if I've seen the website Washington Smoke Blog. I have not actually seen that. I've looked at the website Watch Duty. Baker Snow. Paddle Racing wants to know about Baker Snow. Let's go ahead and take a look at Mount Baker Snow. All right, so Mount Baker, this is showing 40 inches on Mount Baker through 11 a.m. on Saturday, looking at the 10 to 1. If we look at the Kachura, which may be a little more accurate, shows about 41 up there. Down there on Rainier, about 51 inches on the tippy top. And you know, you can actually go over to weather.gov and click on Mount Baker. This is kind of a fun thing to do sometimes. And you can make sure that this little box right here is right on the tippy top of Mount Baker, and then double check the elevation, which I don't think the elevation on this is totally accurate. Sometimes you can get it just right. All right, here we go. So this is for Mount Baker. 3 to 5 inches tomorrow, 8 to 12 inches Friday night, 10 to 14 on Saturday, 5 to 9 inches on Saturday night, 2 to 4 on Sunday. It'd be pretty awesome if we can get up there on top of one of these volcano peaks safely during one of these storms. Just for fun, let's look at Mount Rainier. Yeah, 1 to 2 Friday, 7 to 11 Friday night, 8 to 12 inches Saturday, 3 to 5 inches Saturday night, gusting up to 48 miles per hour on Friday night with snow. Temperature around 23. It's going to be some pretty brutal conditions up there on the top of Mount Baker in the coming days, which is completely normal this time of year. Completely normal. All right, going to put this on a new loop. And then I'm going to go ahead and look at your comments again here. tonight. Yeah, how's everybody doing? Where's everybody watching from tonight? If you missed it earlier, kind of fun. Mile marker from my Facebook page. I took a screenshot of it. Crossed over to 100,000 followers. Thought that was kind of fun that I was able to get the exact 100,000 screenshot. Shortly after that, it crawled up. I think right now it's still climbing. Got some pretty big growth over the last week. We're up to 100,114 as of this moment. But yeah, been doing that page for several years, so just kind of a fun mile marker over there. And we've been talking about this atmospheric river, how much rain it's going to deliver to the state, and also the wind that's possibly going to come on Saturday morning. Thanks, EP. Thank you. Ryan E. asks about Granite Falls. We can go ahead and take a quick look at Granite Falls. So Granite Falls rain, probably going to get up over an inch. I wouldn't be surprised if Granite Falls got anywhere from 1 to 1.5 inches of rain out of this. Looking at the European model, yeah, up over an inch of rain seems possible, if not likely, for the Granite Falls area. And looking at the wind, it could get gusty in Granite Falls. Not so much tomorrow, but on Saturday morning is a possibility of some wind out there in Granite Falls. Anyway, a gust from 30 to 45 seems like it's within the realm of possibility out there at this moment, but that could change. The European model generally agrees with that idea as well. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Astronomy Girl. Hello, Rebecca Rudder. Hello, Paddle Racing. No problem, Ryan. And by the way, guys, officially became a YouTube partner again today, which is awesome. So Super Chats are live here on the channel, which is super exciting for me. Also going to be getting membership tiers going on. But another way to tip the channel if you're not into Super Chats, I'm sending a link right now. It's also pinned in the top, is through my Ko-Fi. But yeah, super stoked to be getting those Super Chats going. And by the way, I'm not begging for anyone's support or anything like that. It's just a lot of people on the Facebook page have expressed a desire to want to support over time. So just trying to create more ways that people can. But it would be kind of fun to see the first Super Chat come over now that we are live with it. Okay, let's see here. Curious why this is not pushing out to Facebook at the moment. I am going to see if I can work on that real fast. Go ahead and stand by, everybody. Just gonna work on a little something here, and then I'll get talking about more of your guys' questions. So go ahead and, if you have any questions, go ahead and just let me know in the comments, and I'll get to it in just a moment here. Okay. Streaming software. Okay, I'm copying this. Output settings. Paste. Save output. Okay. Let's try this again one more time to see if I can get the stream to go out to Facebook as well at the same time. Well, maybe next time I'll try that out again. I got that to work the last time, but I think I did it a slightly different way. So sorry about that for all of you Facebook folks. Okay, taking a look at the comments now. Hey, Ryan, it works. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Thank you, Ryan, for the super chat. Yeah, that'll be nice, I think, when we're out there doing live streams and things. It'll be nice for people to not have to like leave the live stream to send something like that. All right, let me know in the comments if you guys have any more questions, and also go ahead and do me a favor and like this stream if you enjoy it so far. Pretty beefy looking atmospheric river. Nice big surface low up there. The front has occluded. Yeah, also let me know in the comments what kind of content and material you would like to see on this channel. I mean, obviously, I think the main thing that this channel is going to be used for is live streaming chases and whatnot. Something that I've definitely done a lot of over the years, but a lot of my live streaming was done over on Facebook for many years, but Facebook recently has made it a little bit less of a live streaming friendly place. They decided that they wanted to delete live streams after 30 days, and also they prefer live streams that are vertical, which I'm not really a huge fan of vertical live streams. Hey, Roadster Jim, thank you so much for the super chat. Very generous. And paddle racing, no problem. You are welcome. Yeah, any super chats that come my way is just going to help fuel Washington Weather Chasers, literally and figuratively. It's going to help me get out there and do these chases, pay for fuel and things like that. But it's also going to help me invest in better equipment and stuff like that. And of course, any extra will help support my family as well. But most of it is going to really help make Washington Weather Chasers continue to happen. And I appreciate that so much, guys. All right, let me know if you guys have any more questions here. I could also run through this and try to do another update again for anyone that may be new. Let's go ahead and do that right now. So right now we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery. I'm going to start that over real quick after I take a drink. My mouth is a little bit dry. Fresh Spindrift. All right, good evening, folks. Benjamin Yurkovich here with Washington Weather Chasers, currently looking at the infrared satellite imagery of this juicy atmospheric river as it is ripping across the Pacific Ocean. Long fetch of moisture, and it is extending down to the southwest here, coming towards the Pacific Northwest, currently slamming up into portions of British Columbia. And starting tomorrow, this atmospheric river is going to begin moving across the region. Also, fun thing, Facebook page hit 100,000 followers today. Took a screenshot of it for posterity's sake. Very fun. If you don't follow the Washington Weather Chasers page, you can also feel free to head over there and follow that. Looking at pivotal weather here, we're going to pop this over to the regional view, and we're going to take a look at this atmospheric river on the European model as it begins to swoop towards the region here. We see that it begins to rain out there on the northwest Washington coast by tomorrow morning. This is 11 a.m. It's probably going to rain a little bit earlier than that out there on the northwest Washington coast. And then this right here is 2 p.m., raining heavily on the Washington coast. Also, rain is picking up there by Whatcom County, Skagit County, up there in the San Juan Islands. Raining a little bit on Whidbey Island. And then by the time we get to 5 p.m. tomorrow, it's going to be raining pretty much for the whole of western Washington. So for all of you who have evening activities planned tomorrow, I'm sorry. If it's outdoors, you're most likely going to get rained on unless you have a tent or an umbrella. So if you don't want your costumes to get saturated and your makeup to run, I would suggest having an umbrella on you. And it's going to rain throughout the night. And then we have to watch this right here. A little weak surface low is wanting to develop on the model runs. The European brings it right across the North Olympic Peninsula, which that could pack a bit more of a punch than you would think. Even though it's a weak surface low, it's not a weakening surface low. It's one that's actually intensifying as it's going in. And we've seen these happen before where these things just develop right off the coast, move across, and can bring some pretty reasonably strong winds to the coast and other portions of Washington. And the strongest winds is going to develop on the strongest wind is going to depend on the track of that low. This right here is looking at the category rating system, the scale, the AR scale. It's mostly going to be a category 3 atmospheric river for Washington State, with the exception of up there on the northwest Washington coast, where it's going to be categorized as a category 2. And the National Weather Service talks about this atmospheric river a little bit. I'm going to scoot this over so you can read it a bit more. Threat of flooding Friday night through Sunday for Mason, Jefferson, Clallam, Whatcom, Skagit, Snohomish, and King counties. And they highlight the fact that the river with the most flooding potential is mostly likely going to be the Skokomish River. It's the only one that's actually forecast to enter minor flood stage on Saturday. But there are many other rivers that are forecast to reach action stage. Pocatchio, Skagit, Snohomish, Skokomish, Snoqualmie rivers. So it might be a fun day to check out some of the waterfalls or rapids. But they do say there's some uncertainty about how much rainfall is going to fall over the mountains, and river conditions will continue to be monitored. And they also highlight the possibility of some burn scar debris flows, and that would primarily be on the Bear Gulch fire area. Gonna scoot this back over, stand by. Here we go. So looking at rainfall amounts, gonna pop over to the European model again. And gonna go into the state view here. Looking at rainfall amounts, the European model brings a pretty decent amount of rain to much of western Washington, less for eastern Washington, which makes sense considering pretty much the whole of eastern Washington is rain shadowed by the Cascade Mountains. And there will be a little bit of rain shadowing from the Olympic Mountains as well for portions of western Washington. But it's looking like the Seattle area is going to get close to an inch, if not more than an inch, most likely. Down there by SeaTac, over an inch. This little Seattle icon is actually on downtown Seattle. I wish they would scoot it down to SeaTac where the actual observations take place. Tacoma, close to an inch and a half of rain on the European model. Everett has 1.4 inches of rain on the European model. That'll be quite a lot. And even more for up there by Arlington. And Skagit County and Whatcom County get a dumping out of this, and especially the Olympic Mountains and the Cascade Mountains. Looking over at the HRRR model, and we have new data from this actually, so I'm going to use that. Total QPF, total precipitation. It looks like it's going a little bit lighter than it was in the 18Z model run, but still a decent amount of rain for much of the area. 1 inch for Seattle, 1 inch for Tacoma, 1 inch for Olympia, a little bit more than 1 inch. And for much of the coast, anywhere from 1 to 2 inches. And for the Olympic Mountains, 3 to 5 inches, especially on the higher peaks. And from the Central Cascades to the North Cascades, kind of the same story. And real quick, I'm curious to see if the surface low is still popping up on this HRRR model run here. Going through here, and it is. It's a little bit weaker, but it goes right into South Vancouver Island, brings some stronger winds to the Washington coast. And looking at wind gusts here for that. It's going to get a little bit windy tomorrow. There is a wind advisory out for tomorrow already for West Whatcom County, the San Juans, Whidbey, Camino, over there by Port Townsend, and the north and central coast. But then going into Saturday morning, we have another possibility of a shot of wind. Looks like on this HRRR model run, wants to bring some close to 50 mile per hour wind to places. Bring some close to 50 mile per hour winds to places like Ocean Shores, Westport, Long Beach. And then it's bringing some pretty decently strong winds to the Kitsap Peninsula, 45 to 50 miles per hour on this run. And we need it to load one more hour. Come on. Oh, perfect. There we go. And then 40 to 45 miles per hour. Looks like for the Seattle area, 40 miles per hour. A little stronger out in the areas east. Over there by Everett, 40 to 44. Over the Strait of Juan de Fuca, pretty strong wind. Look at that, up towards 60 miles per hour. Gusting on, ooh, look at that. I spot a west surge. This may be our first west surge of the season here if this plays out. There's already been a couple west surges. Our first strong west surge of the season. If this plays out just like this. We need one more hour to load here. Come on. Everyone start rooting for one more hour. Okay, I'm going to continue on with this a little bit here. Looking at the European one more time, though. The European brings out there on the coast anywhere from 45 to 50 mile per hour gusts with that system. And for the interior, it shows the Everett area gusting anywhere from 45 to 50. And Mount Vernon 51, same with up there in Bellingham over Whidbey Island, same story. And for the Seattle area, maybe 42. But we're just going to have to keep an eye and see how that little weak low comes in on Saturday morning, if it actually does develop. See if one more hour has developed here or loaded here on the HRRR, and boom, yep. Well, brings about a 50 mile per hour westerly surge into Whidbey Island on Saturday. So nothing too out of the ordinary for there, but still, it's looking a bit more likely that it's going to be pretty breezy now on Saturday. It was looking like we were going to just dry out and not have much wind on Saturday, and then models started trending towards a more windy solution. And then as we go off into the future, it stays active. The European model, here's the atmospheric river, that windy system on the backside, and then Sunday kind of dries out with some residual showers, especially convergence zone activity. And then Sunday, some residual showers drying out completely by the afternoon and evening, most likely. Monday could end up being dry in the morning, and then we have a system that wants to possibly develop and move towards the area later in the afternoon into the evening, bringing some mountain snow to the Cascades and possibly more windy conditions to the coast and possibly also portions of the interior. So definitely staying active. And then as we go beyond that, it stays active still. I mean, very active weather period that we're coming into here. So if you're enjoying these videos, please make sure and like and subscribe. And yeah, all those things. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the comments real quick. Thanks, DJ Toenail. Out there in Squim, you're going to get some rain, probably a little bit less than other areas for sure. Looking at the total QPF for Squim. Oh, it's actually showing you guys getting a decent amount out there. Looking at the higher resolution model data. Okay, that's probably more accurate. Squim could still get up towards close to a ½ inch of rain, that's pretty good for Squim. And in terms of wind, tomorrow could get a little breezy out there by Squim, and then possibility of more wind on Saturday morning. out of the west primarily for squim. Take a look at them. There we go. All right, gonna pop over, look at the questions one more time, and then we're probably gonna wrap this stream up. All right, folks. Well, hey, thanks for joining on with me tonight. I hope you guys have enjoyed this stream. If you did, please make sure and hit that like button, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll be watching for more live streams and also for storm chase live streams and things like that. I am going to go ahead and end this, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.